Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, October 4, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:36 p.m. Jamaica time, we can see that we're still watching this code orange, basically a tropical wave that has a medium chance of development within the next 7 days, the more west-northwest it goes. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite imagery of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the clouds, the showers, and the thunderstorms associated with this tropical wave right in here, way south of the Cabo Verde Island, right in here for sure. And it is this that's expected to push west-northwestward in all of the very warm waters of the main development region and possibly develop and maybe even possibly affect the northeastern Caribbean islands. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. But let us read the latest here from the Hurricane Center about this tropical wave. They've stated here, a broad area of low pressure is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms several hundred miles south of the Cabo Verde Islands. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of this system, and it could become a tropical depression by the middle to latter part of next week, while moving across the central tropical Atlantic and approaching portions of the Leeward Islands. And we see that they've now given the area a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days, and a 60% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at what the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs are showing, so we're just going out within the next 7 days, so we're not going to be passing the 7-day time frame. So just all the way out to 0Z on Saturday, October 11. That's about 7 p.m. on Friday, October 10. And this is where the Euro model has the system. We see the isobars, we see the moisture that would be affecting the Leeward Islands by that time, and we see the deep convection, even some dark greens into yellows, oranges in there. Very interesting. Maybe that could be a strong tropical wave, if not a tropical depression at that point, if not a low-end tropical storm. But look what the GFS has at the same time period. Definitely a stronger system. Let me even rub out what we have regarding what the Euro was showing. But definitely a stronger system, a bit more to the east of where the Euro has it. A lot of isobars, a lot more convection, 963 or 83 millibars. So definitely a stronger tropical storm, if not a low-end hurricane at that time, is what the GFS is showing. So GFS slower and stronger, Euro faster and weaker. We'll see it actually plays out. We definitely have to pay close attention to see exactly what unfolds. Let us see if we can actually get the next name on the list, which is Jerry, to form out of this system. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can still see that we have that frontal system extending from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the Bahamas and the Gulf. We can also see a tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean. To the east of that tropical wave, we have a trough as represented by the broken orange lines. To the east of that trough, another tropical wave. To the northeast of that tropical wave, another trough. And we have that tropical wave that has a medium chance of development right here off the coast of Africa. All of these entities are being steered from east to west, if not east, south, east to west, northwest, all courtesy of this ridge of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, let us see if we can make out all of these entities that we just mentioned. First of all, the trail of clouds associated with that frontal system extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the Bahamas and the Gulf. We can also see the clouds associated with that tropical wave right in here to the east of the Caribbean, the trough just to the east of there, another tropical wave right in here, I believe, and another tropical wave right in here, and I believe another trough up in here, if I'm not mistaken. All of these being steered from east to west, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, October 4, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast for parts of some northern and western parishes on Saturday afternoon. And we know that northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Our western parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the Cornwall County, so St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 1:45 p.m., the infrared satellite imagery was posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at 1:45, we saw the infrared, we saw the thunderstorms that were affecting portions of mainly northern parishes at that time. We see all of the cumulonimbus clouds, blues, green, yellows, oranges, reds, not to mention the sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, especially across the north coast. So Hanover, St. James, sections of St. Anne into St. Mary, maybe northern St. Andrew, eastern Westmoreland at that time getting on some of the action as well. And if we take a look at the visible satellite imagery, we can see it all even better. We can see first of all that low level to mid level flow of the clouds from southeast to northwest, and then we have all of the air piling up across the northern and western portions of the island, definitely bringing us some thunderstorm activity across the north coast, and even some of the western parishes, so even northern St. Elizabeth got on some of the afternoon thunder shower before all was said and done with the day. And we can see it all even better on the infrared satellite imagery right here. We saw the thunderstorms across St. Mary. We saw it across sections of western Portland, northern St. Andrew, northern St. Elizabeth right in here where you saw the thunderstorms at the end. We also saw the activity across eastern Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney getting in on some of the activity as well. Definitely confirming what was predicted for the northern and western sides. Unfortunately, it looks like the Jamaican Doppler radar might have glitched out. This was at around 17:11 Z, that's about 12:11 p.m. But at that time, we were seeing that some of the rainfall was starting to affect sections of the central areas to the western end of the island at that time, and then most of that activity pushed off towards the north and the west. And regarding what took place here, the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing crossroads in St. Andrew at around 1:05 p.m. We can see people in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely sunny conditions for the most part, even although we had some of these clouds dotting the hills of northern St. Andrew, pushing towards the northwest to the north coast into St. Mary. The sunny conditions definitely, you know, were the order of the day across the Kingston into St. Andrew area. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture of where we had that rainfall today, especially across sections of some northern and western parishes for sure, just like what we saw on the infrared satellite imagery. And we definitely have some comments that came in from some of our followers about what the weather is like in their area today. We have Big Truck Homes stating sunny all day. I wonder what parish that was. We have Althea Jones stating wish it would fall in Portmore. We have Lance Brown stating sun hot in his area. Even on our Instagram page, we had the comments coming in. One Ryan._ stating thunderstorm in Hanover, strong winds. Thanks for confirming, Ryan. Definite boy, I wish I lived there. I wish I live in Hanover, getting all of the thunderstorms all the time. We have Giovanni Panton setting Spanish Town, sunshine. And even on our TikTok page, we had some comments coming in. Let's see if we can zoom in on some of these. We have Pauline Richards setting Kingston. What about Kingston? More than likely sunny. We have Morris Edwards 169 setting Kingston hot. User 6806179683781 stating Portmore sunny, hot like hell. We have Sandra stating rain is in Falmouth. So clearly the rainfall was across the north coast today for sure. Thank you all for confirming what the weather is like in your area for today. Alright, so we're about to reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. The latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery, or it's still glitched out, my goodness. The latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery and the latest Cayman radar, because the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar has glitched out. Boy, these Doppler radars, so easy to glitch out. There we go. Definitely glitched out now. Reloaded the page. Doppler radar vanished. So no Jamaican Doppler radar to show, but we still have the still image here to work with, and the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 0005 UTC, which is actually 7:05 p.m. So this just came out 10 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:15 p.m. right now. And as you can see, we have some whitish shades across section of the island, all courtesy of the upper level thunderstorms that took place today. So definitely just some cirrus clouds for the time being, nothing in the way of bad weather. Some leftover clouds right here across southern Manchester into southern Clarendon. Do we actually have rainfall underneath any of these? Let us see. It doesn't seem like it. It looks like the Cuban Doppler radar is up to date. It is showing all the way up to 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7:10 p.m. Jamaica time. So as you can see, not much of anything taking place across the island in terms of rainfall. We do see some rain bands right here to the north of St. James and Trelawney though. We actually see those rain bands here. I think we see them right in here, maybe way out to sea. Nothing really significant. In terms of the Cayman radar, we can also see the rain bands to the north of Trelawney and St. James right over here. And we can also see some rain bands, some light to moderate rainfall to the north and to the west, as well as to the south of the Cayman Islands. And regarding what's taking place right now, the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, looking at halfway tree in St. Andrew. And as you can see here, we have people in their vehicles going about their business, people walking about going about their business right in here. And as you can see, it's definitely fair conditions taking place right now, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows that represents up to at least 1 degree Celsius above normal. And we know the normal temperature for the month of October across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.6 all the way up to 32.6 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. And we're grateful that we visited the MyJPS online Twitter page and we don't see any maintenance outage advisories here. You know that we have to highlight the outages that they claim are gonna take place, because that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So we're indeed grateful that we don't have any outages to worry about. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. So if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, it states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or a bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugary drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see a lot of dry air across the northern portion of North Atlantic, extending all the way back into the western portions of Africa area. We know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. But we're liking that we're seeing more moist air these days. We see a lot of moist air across the main development region, into the Caribbean, into the southwestern Atlantic, into the Gulf, in and around Central America. And you notice wherever we have the moist air, that's where we have most of the clouds and the grays. And wherever we have the clouds, that's where we have more of the rainfall. And that's what we want more of. We want more rainfall so that we get more water in our pipes, as well as cooler temperatures. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, so we're heading into October 5, October 6, and October 7. And as you can see here, Jamaica and the entire Caribbean should be in the clear. Not much in the way of Saharan dust at all. We do see that Saharan dust though coming off of Africa. We see it in the oranges, yellows, the pinks, pushing westward over the next 3 days. And we like the fact that the more it pushes westward, the more it loses that orange and pinkish shade. So it's not that vigorous. The more west it pushes, the more it dwindles back down to some yellows and greens, and then eventually dissipates the more it makes it to the Caribbean. That's what we want, because we don't want it to bring us the hazy skies or trigger respiratory illnesses in anyone at all, asthma, sinusitis at this time. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, the GFS map right here showing the Caribbean still shaded in the light shades of blues to darker shades of blues. That's anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1 meter wave height. And we still have the highest waves to the north of the Bahamas, to the north of the northeastern Caribbean. All of the dark blues into the purples into the pinks represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to 3, even up to 4 meter wave heights. And that's because of the strong winds that are expected up there from the east, if not the east northeast, averaging anywhere from 20 to 25 knots, while the Caribbean should be getting on an east to east southeasterly kind of flow, averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 knots at most. But regarding Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland up to 0.5 meter wave height expected. Same thing for the north of St. Anne, 0.4 meter wave height to the north of Hanover, 0.5 meter wave height to the south of Westmoreland, 0.7 meter wave height to the south of Clarendon, and to the south of St. Thomas, 0.5 meter wave height expected. And that's because of the winds that are expected across the island tomorrow. We see a kind of easterly, if not east-southeasterly kind of flow to the south of Kingston, 12 knots, to the south of St. Elizabeth, 11 knot winds, to the north of St. Anne up to 11 knot winds. And where do we see the air piling up for tomorrow? Still kind of looks like northern and western parishes, but it's kind of more so central and western parishes, but definitely looking more northern and western parishes. So that is where some of these low-level clouds could bring us some daytime heating rainfall. Some of these clouds becoming mid-level clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And then we have that upper-level wind shear coming in from the northwest tomorrow. So if we actually get some thunderstorms to formulate across the island, it could do something similar to what took place today when we had the thunderstorms, all of those clouds being sheared off towards the south. So look out for that. And regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see on both maps? Jamaica shaded in the blues across sections of some northern and western parishes once again. So we're referring to sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, maybe sections of western Portland into sections of St. Andrew, maybe even northern St. Catherine getting in on some of the action. And we clearly see that on both the Euro and the GFS modes. And we know that when both maps are in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. So don't expect the rainfall if you're on the south or the eastern sides at all. Mainly northern and western parishes, that's the pattern for the past days and should continue into tomorrow. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement about the rainfall and the location across the northern and western side. The Euro showing more rainfall totals though, getting up into the oranges, maybe up to 0.5 an inch of rainfall. The GFS only up into the dark greens, up to 0.2 of an inch of rainfall. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of October. We're in the wettest month of the year for Jamaica. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive 196 millimeters of rainfall for October. That's about 7.7 inches of rainfall. While in Portland, we usually receive around 230 millimeters of rainfall for the month of October. That's about 9 inches of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of October or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show you that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens. That represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Sunday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Monday. And as you can see here, 12 on Monday, which as we know is about 7 a.m. we can see that we are not going to be getting not much of anything across Jamaica on during that time period. But 18 on Monday, that's about 1 p.m. Look at the afternoon. We see rainfall in the greens across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Monday morning, not really much of anything. Monday afternoon, look at that, rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on Tuesday morning on the Euro? Not really much of anything on Tuesday morning on the Euro, but Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. That's the GFS show. Tuesday morning, not really much of anything. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall looks like across sections of some northern and western parishes. What do we see on Wednesday morning? Wednesday morning, look at that, we're seeing moisture across some southern and eastern parishes. What do we see on Wednesday afternoon? Maybe some rainfall across some eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, not really much of anything. Wednesday afternoon, rainfall across some eastern, northern, and western parishes. What do we see on Thursday morning? Thursday morning, maybe some rainfall across the southeastern end. Thursday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Thursday morning, not really much of anything. Thursday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on Friday morning? On Friday morning, not really much of anything across Jamaica. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some central and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 1 John 68 hours. So this is valid for Saturday, October 11. Not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica at that time. What do we see on the GFS? Friday morning, first of all, rainfall across the northwest, rainfall across the south. Then on Friday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. And just like on the Euro, we're stopping it right here at the end of the 1 John 68 hours. So this is valid for Saturday, October 11. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica at that time. But clearly, both Euro and the GFS models at the end of the next 7 days have the future Jerry almost in the same position. The Euro definitely weaker, affecting the Leeward Island. GFS definitely stronger, with the majority of the core of the system passing to the north of the Leeward Islands. As you know, the stronger systems want to go more north, the weaker systems want to go more west. Thus why we have more of the deeper moisture pushing into the Leeward Islands. Well, so it actually plays out. And in terms of the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing us what's expected from now up until Saturday, October 11. This is all the rainfall that's expected. And we see all of it accumulating on the Euro, heading into the Leeward Islands. The northern South America into Central America area shaded in the dark reds into the purples and the pinks as well. That represents the 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall. Even portion of the northern Bahamas into Florida still to be receiving a lot of rainfall. The GFS showing something similar, but clearly the brunt of the rainfall should be passing just to the north of the eastern Caribbean on the GFS, while the other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and red, like the Greater Antilles into the Windward Islands, those areas should be getting on an inch or less of rainfall over the next 7 days. And regarding Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Saturday, October 11. And we see Jamaica shaded from the eastern end to the western end in the blues, greens, yellows. That represents up to a total of 49 millimeters from about 10 millimeters, 10 to all the way up to 49 millimeters is what the Euro is showing. GFS showing something similar with these rainfall totals, especially across some northern and western parishes. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean. So we have a lot of moisture to the southwest of Jamaica, the southwestern Caribbean, definitely moist. A lot of moisture across the Gulf, the southwestern Atlantic. Not really much of anything across the central to the eastern Caribbean though, boy. Dry times. A tropical to the east of the Leeward Islands. A lot of moisture in the intertropical convergence zone. And that decent tropical wave right here to the far south of the Cabo Verde Islands. We'll see how all of that actually plays out. Regarding what's taking place near Puerto Rico, though, in terms of the Doppler radar, we can see some rainfall just to the west of Puerto Rico, to the east and to the north of the British Virgin Islands. Some light to moderate rainfall to the east of much of the Leeward Islands. And if we load these images from earlier today, we saw where we had some rainfall across section of San Juan, central to southwestern Puerto Rico as well, getting on some moderate to heavy rainfall. Look at the red. Some decent heavy rainfall over there in Puerto Rico for sure earlier this afternoon. And we're still expecting more of that northerly kind of flow with the moisture pushing down just to the east of Martinique right here. We also see some moisture that affected portions of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, still experiencing some of that moisture across the Grenadines into Grenada. We see some of that moisture to the south of Barbados pushing down towards Trinidad and Tobago as well. And if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall here to the west of Florida, across section of Cuba, to the east of Nicaragua, across section of Colombia into northwestern Venezuela. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that within the next 24 hours, there should definitely be some rainfall across section of Florida into the Bahamas, Cuba, section of the Cayman Islands, so too Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. Some rainfall for St. Lucia, St. Vincent, sections of French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan getting on some of that rainfall as well. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so let's just see what's taking place here across the Eastern Pacific. We now have newly formed Tropical Storm Priscilla. To the west of Priscilla, we're still watching Tropical Storm Octave. And to the east of Priscilla, we have that area that has a medium chance of development within the next 7 days just to the south of Mexico. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see all of these entities. That's Tropical Storm Octave right here. Definitely not looking as formidable as Priscilla. Look how huge Tropical Storm Priscilla is. A lot of bonding features associated with this tropical storm fanning out. A lot of moisture pushing into coastal Mexico as we speak. And we also see a lot of moisture associated with what should set the stage for the next name on the list, which after Priscilla comes Raymond. So let us see if we actually get Raymond to form out of that one. But the latest here about Tropical Storm Octave, it is now packing 65 mile per hour winds. We know that systems that pack anywhere from 39 to 73 mile per hour winds are classified as tropical storms. So it's a medium range tropical storm if it is packing 65 mile per hour winds. Definitely not a low end tropical storm, and it's definitely not a high end tropical storm either. It's smack dab in the middle of tropical storm status. It is moving right now towards the northwest at 6 miles per hour, and we see that it's expected to push out towards the northeast, then towards the east, then the east southeast, then back eastward. Interesting forecast for sure, all the way back to tropical depression status. Regarding Tropical Storm Priscilla, as you can see here, it is packing 45 mile per hour winds. So it is definitely a low end tropical storm, definitely closer to tropical depression status than to hurricane status. But look at this, it is moving towards the northwest at 6 miles per hour right now, and it should actually make it up into hurricane status. We see the AHs right here, so hurricane status is coming for it. And look at that, coastal Mexico is shaded in yellows. The yellows represents tropical storm watches. Very interesting. I'm sure they did that because of a lot of moisture that's expected to push in. The system is huge, so it makes sense. All of these light shades of greens into yellows into oranges, or gold I should say, representing anywhere from 1 all the way up to maybe 8 inches of rainfall for some coastal spots. Makes sense as to why they put the area under a tropical storm watch, because they could definitely get on some flooding, you know, some land slippages, a lot of mountainous areas over here across coastal Mexico. And within some of these thunderstorms that are going to be bringing the heavy rainfall, there could definitely be some strong winds, you know, bringing some tropical storm force winds in it there for sure. Regarding what's taking place across the Western Pacific into the Indian Ocean, first of all, the Indian Ocean, we're still watching Tropical Cyclone Shakti To the east of that one, way here to the south of China, we have Typhoon Matmo, so it's now a hurricane. And to the southeast of Japan, we now have Tropical Depression number 28W. And if we look at the infrared, we can see how impressive Typhoon Matmo is. Huge eye right in here. Almost the same spot as where Typhoon Boaloi hit just a week or so ago. Crazy. And we see that new tropical depression. Is it tropical depression? Was it tropical depression? Yes. Right here to the southeast of Japan. Excuse me. So we can see Typhoon Matmo right here looking quite formidable right now. Huge system. It is now packing 80 knot winds. And we know that systems that pack anywhere from 65 to 83 knot winds excuse me, are classified as category 1 hurricane. So it's a category 1 typhoon right now. It is expected to continue pushing up towards the northwest. We see that it's expected to increase in intensity, maybe up to 90 knot winds. So that's about the same as category 2 status before it even makes landfall into southern China. Very interesting, and maybe even affect excuse me, portions of Vietnam as well. Interesting. And we see that as soon as it gets into land, the wind speeds decrease 60 knots, 40 knots, 20 knots, because it doesn't have the warm water to continue fueling it. Over here to the east of Saudi Arabia and Oman, just to the west of India, just to the south of Pakistan, we're still watching tropical cyclone Shakti. And Shakti is now packing maximum sustained winds of 75 knots. It's still expected to continue pushing out towards the southwest, then to the south, then towards the east. As you can see here, you know that 75 knot winds definitely classify the system as category 1 hurricane right in here, and we're from 65 to 83 knots. Category 1 cyclone over here. Very interesting. This part of the world usually doesn't experience this type of weather. You know, we're talking about Saudi Arabia, Oman. These are deserts. We have Dubai somewhere in here, if I'm not mistaken. All of these areas are deserts, so this is coming a bit too close for comfort to them, even although it's expected to make a whole U-turn, as you can see here. So they could definitely be affected by some of the outer bands. Regarding tropical depression number 28W, it's right here to the southeast of Japan, and it is now packing 30 knot winds. So it's definitely down there in intensity. Just became a tropical depression. We know that systems that are usually close to these knots, 33 knots, definitely tropical depression status. And look at what's expected to do. Increase in intensity, of course, considering that this is going to be traversing the waters to the south of Japan. Look at that, 35, 45, 60, 75, 100 knots. So they're expecting it to become a category 3 hurricane. And trust me, don't be surprised if it exceeds that and becomes maybe a category 4, category 5. In this side of the world, they refer to super typhoons when they get to category 4, category 5 status. And there we have it, up to 115 knots. Didn't even see this part. So by around, this is, I believe, the 8th day of October, if I'm not mistaken, it should become a 115 knot typhoon. That's category 4 status. Very interesting. And we see that it's expected to make a turn to the right or a turn to the north, maybe to affect the southern Japanese islands right in here, and even mainland Japan over in here eventually, if not South Korea. We'll see it actually plays out. You know that the farther we go out in time, the forecasts are not 100% accurate, so we just have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. And we definitely have to stay on top of this. I have friends and relatives who live or work in Japan, so if you do, please get in contact with them. We know how bad these systems can definitely get. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.